of the show, and we'll tell you what to put in the comment section to try to win those two things in just a few minutes. I want to bring on my guest. Jenna Duddleston is on with us tonight because Jenna does a podcast called Bar Talk. Hello, Jenna.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited.
My friend George discovered your show, and I watched it, and I thought, yes, Jenna is perfect for this show. She likes drinks like we like drinks, and she has put together a drink officially for the GarrForce cocktail show, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. And I know there's this dry January fever that happens every year, and I got to tell you, I think this is the worst month to go dry. The only things I want dry during January: the sidewalk in front of my house, the conveyor belt at the grocery store, and the rim around the manual paper towel dispenser at a public bathroom. Those are the only things I want dry. I want everything else moist, okay? Because of all the months that you don't want to be dry, it's this month. It's the post-holiday slump. The bills are coming in for the holidays. It's in a lot of states miserably cold or snowy. And the daylight, while it's expanding, is not where it's, hey, wow, we got a lot of daylight. No, it's not there yet. In a couple months, yes, but not right now. If you want to pick a month to go dry, maybe June, August, where you got a lot of other things that make you feel good, but not January. Although April. What are those months?
Because it's kind of moist already, so you can be dry while it's moist. But
yeah, and we're in the spring at that point, and we can afford to maybe put the cocktails down. Not this month. Having said that, I watched one of Jenna's podcasts, and she was accommodating those who want to go dry. She came up with a cosmopolitan for the month of January, right?
And I had no intention on doing this until I had people reach out to me and say, hey, how do I make this in a non-alcoholic way? And I was like, oh my God, I'm missing an entire market of people. Like, how rude of me. So I reached out to my liquor lady and I was like, I know this is going to sound weird, but do you have non-alcoholic spirits? And she was like, what? And we had one at the one bar that I worked at. I actually have it right here. It's called Seedlip. Seedlip is similar to gin. Like, it has a lot of the like botanical flavors that gin has, but it doesn't obviously have the bite or, the alcohol in it. So I've had a lot of really great people like sending me photos, especially like pregnant women who I love. They're like, I can't drink, but I want to feel like I'm drinking something. So a lot of them will do some of the mocktails. But then I also am like, if you want to make it boozy, just add rum or vodka or gin or whatever your poison is of choice. It's really easy to just throw it on in.
I think it's funny that prior to, I don't know when this thing about pregnant women not drinking and smoking came about. Let's say it was 30, 40 years ago when we got enlightened. Before that, you'd see pregnant women smoking, having a cocktail. And I'm from that generation when there were no taboos about doing that when you were pregnant. And I think I turned out okay, but that's me.
I think you're good. I think you're good.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know about
a lot of people. Yeah.
I don't know about my mom. I was born in 92. So Kath, if you're listening, I mean, if you slip the occasional beer, I'm not shocked. Let's put it that way.
So now we're wiser, and okay, you shouldn't drink and smoke if you're pregnant. Fine. Although I was invested in a nightclub, and when it started to go south, I recommended that we would have nights where you'd give pregnant women free shots just to get that group in. I was looking for anything. I didn't care. This show is Bizarro World in that we don't do any of that. We're the opposite. Say it's snowy out. We'll say if you don't have to go out with the snowy roads, go out and speed and hit the brakes. If it's 10 above 0, don't dress for it. Go out with a t-shirt. We're telling you everything opposite of all the other people that are telling you everything that you should know anyway.
Correct.
We're going to go the opposite way. Meaning we're doing wet January.
What I prefer it, and I think moderation is fine. I mean, that's my personal preference because you go from one extreme to the next. I think most people are like, you think you can get back on the horse in February and you have like one drink and you're just making yourself look really foolish.
Okay.
It is not safe. It is not safe for anyone out there who is going dry and then trying to go from like 0 to 100 really fast.
That's what we're saying, Jenna. Don't put yourself in that situation. Still drink, keep it in moderation, but
Correct.
don't break the chain.
Yeah.
because you're going to have to regroup, and it's going to be very severe to get back on that horse because the horse is already running and
Mhm.
you've not been on it for a month.
And
You've
someone's
been
gonna get
doing,
hurt.
yes, exactly. You've been doing bar talk for how long?
Coming up on 2 years in March.
And let's talk about how you got to doing this podcast. There was a sequence of events that led you to start doing bar talk, and I want to hear about it, as I'm sure our viewers do.
Yeah, so we'll say I think all good things kind of stem from something bad, as weird as that sounds. I worked in the service industry for, at that point, 7 years, as a bartender, as a server in some capacity. And there were whispers, musings of this COVID. And I have a lot of family who's in healthcare. And I had asked them, I'm like, should I be worried? And when they had talked about, oh, we're going to, work from home and you can do this. And I'm like, I don't have that luxury. Like, for lack of better words, I'm screwed. So I was at the Southside St. Patrick's Day parade in Chicago. I got the notification that said, oh, yeah, all bars and restaurants will officially be closed on Tuesday, which was the actual day of St. Patrick's Day. And I grabbed a bottle of scotch, which was a very low point in my life, and drank a lot of the bottle, let's put it that way. And I was, the next day, was told that I was furloughed with no return date in sight, no money coming in. And so I said, okay, girl, you get one day to be sad. Like, you have to go through this storm and like feeling this. So you need to just feel it and go through it. So I went through it. And after I had my tiny, tiny little violin and pity party for myself, I said, you need to get out of bed every day. So what do you want to do? And I said, I want to bartend. And I said, well, how can I do that? And I had this idea actually for 7 years beforehand, but I didn't know what it looked like. So I was like, okay, why don't we just like try this? Like, I was planning on starting it in a month. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so it turned into just a reason to get out of bed. And I ended up doing 40 like Instagram live shows when Instagram live was like the rage, in 10 weeks. And now it is a full-fledged podcast on YouTube and all, wherever you get your podcast from. And we're making drinks too. So I always say it wasn't the plan, but it's way better than the plan.
And you do one show a week is posted, right?
One show a week. Yes. Every Thursday.
And you come up with a drink every week. Is the drink an original drink, or are you showcasing some of the faves from whatever we know as the great drinks of
It's
the
a
universe?
it's a little bit of both. So sometimes I get people that are like, teach me how to make, you like love Manhattans. Teach me how to make a Manhattan. What should I know about making a Manhattan? So just quick videos giving you a step-by-step rundown. And then sometimes I like to get creative with it. One of my like favorite creative drinks that I've come up with is a beer punch. And it's basically vodka, lemonade, raspberry concentrate, and your beer of choice. And you just put it in a big jug. And it's the best party favorite. And for my very traditional Southside family who only drinks Miller Lite, it's their favorite drink anytime I make it for family parties.
And you come from a mom and pop bar family, right?
I do, yeah. So my mom's parents, well, actually my mom's grandparents started Shinnick's Pub in 1938. So I'm the fourth generation. And I always said, like that was my daycare. And I thought that was normal. And it wasn't, to go to the bar after school and sit next to Uncle Edgar as he drank his old style. And then when Uncle Edgar passed away, God rest his soul, I learned he wasn't my uncle, and I was distraught because I was like, what do you mean I'm not related to him? So yeah, I grew up in a bar and I loved it. And there's a lot of history, and it's a really cool family tradition to be a part of that I don't take for granted in any way.
Is your parents' bar still in operation?
It's still in operation, yeah. And I should say it's my mom and her 8 siblings. So it's still in operation. We were very lucky during the pandemic that we own the building. So that was our blessing. And we have tenants above. We have apartments. So we still had cash flow coming in, obviously not the cash flow you would like to have, but we're still here. And I said to my mom and my aunts, I was like, I just don't think we're done yet. Like, I still think we have more to give, and we need more, parties to have and celebrations and couples to meet each other in the bar. Like, so we somehow still need to be here. And it's not easy by any means. I think any person who has a friend or is a part of a family business knows the difficulties these last 2 years have put on everyone. But I think you have to ask yourself, like, as a consumer, like, where do you want to go in a year when everything's back to normal? Because if it's what I hope is Shinix for some people, like, you got to show us the support now so we can be there for you in a year from now. And that's with restaurants and everything across the board.
And it's called Shinix.
Shinix Pub, yes.
And it's where in Chicago?
In the shadows of White Sox Park. It is on 38th and Union. So go to a Sox game and then stumble on over for a drink and a shot afterwards.
When I was growing up, there was a tavern, and that's what they were called, just about on every other corner. And it seemed like that solidified, that was the center of the neighborhood. Not that everybody was in there drinking all the time, but people could hang out in a place, and it was a neighborhood place, and they were all over Chicago, and they're not as prevalent anymore. And it's good to see these, like your mother's, still hanging in there.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm with you. Like, I love taverns because it's more than just a bar. It is like it's a community gathering, and you don't have to go in and drink. You can just go in there and sit down and talk. Like I was told as a kid, like, if anything ever goes wrong, run into the bar. So as a kid, if anything went wrong or if I needed someone, I ran into the bar. And it really is a community of people that come together. And I think it's they don't exist anymore. They're a dying breed. And I feel like it's a gold mine because so many of them just are gone, and it breaks my heart. But if you have your like neighborhood tavern that you can go to, like, you just got to show them love, man, because they need it probably more than they care to admit.
And you worked for a person who I consider the czar of the restaurant industry, a man by the name of Rich Melman. And he has a number of restaurants in Chicago and around the country now.
Yeah.
And here's a man who started with one restaurant and built this empire. And every one of his places is unique and incredible and just fun to be at. And that experience had to be pretty rewarding.
It was so rewarding. And I started at RJ Grunt's, actually the birthplace of lettuce. I was there for 5 years and loved it. I loved the old school feel of it. And then when I ended up transferring to Pizzeria Portofino, which is on the Riverwalk in Chicago, that's where I kind of really honed in on the like craft of cocktails and learning more about, spirits and wine and all of that stuff. But I'll tell you, I learned more in the 8.5 years I worked at Lettuce than I have anywhere else, because what that family has done, I think they've created the trend and the new norm for what a restaurant is. I always say they understand that you eat with your eyes first. So when you go into any of their places, you're already getting filled up based off of the ambiance that you're in and what it feels like, what the music is like, how the servers are dressed, and people want that too, So it's been fascinating to learn from them. And it's funny because I never thought I would have like taken as much away and like have implemented it into the podcast, but that's part of the drink making. It's like you drink with your eyes first. You smell with, before you're actually drinking something, you're drinking it with your eyes. So it's like, is it visually appealing based off of how it looks? Do you want it? And I think the Melmans understand that more than anyone.
I would go to lunch with Rich or dinner a number of times, and I'd sit there and go, I'm at a clinic. This man is teaching me things as we're having this great food. And he has, like you said, this knowledge, not just about the restaurant business, but of life in general. And I hope all of you watching this have met somebody in your life that gives you that kind of input, because it's just unbelievable when you walk away and think that's something I'll remember the rest of my life.
Yeah, no. And I worked more so with his children, with Molly and Jared, but Rich would still come in from time to time. So it was still wonderful to see like his input is everything to everyone. And it's so fascinating just to see how he holds himself, because when he walks in, honestly, unless you know who he is, you don't know who he is. because he doesn't like stand out, like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but like the man wears Skechers and I think it's awesome. Like the man wears Skechers and it's fantastic. But like learning from his kids has been incredible. And I'm just like seriously so grateful, like for all of the years that I was with them and the amount that I've got to learn and have, taken on with me and what I'm doing now.
One of the things he said to me that I will always remember, he said, "What appears today could be quite different in 2 weeks." And I know that might be a different timeline, but what he is saying, things that we're experiencing right now, and you're thinking, well, this is it. I mean, I can't deal with it. Give it a few, whatever amount of time, it could shift, and it could shift dramatically. You don't know. You don't
Yeah.
know. Well, you have come up with a drink
Yes.
that you call, what do you call this drink?
We're going to call it
Snout?
the whiskey. Why can't I say whiskey snout? Yes.
The whiskey snout. And that's how you'll talk after you enjoy this drink. We could call it the streaming schnauzer if we'd like, though, right? This is something you put together. This is an original.
Yes. So put this together for you guys, and I'm going to make it because I have everything. But yeah, it's really simple to make. And what I love about it was I wanted to take what you said, because you were a big Manhattan guy. So I kind of did a little twist on a Manhattan, because I think for people who are just starting off with cocktails, a Manhattan is a lot if you don't like sweet vermouth. It really is. Like when I first had it, I was like, oh, this is awful. But I've grown to appreciate it more as I've kind of expanded my horizons. But with this guy, we're just going to do a half an ounce of lemon juice. And then the other thing too, when you're making cocktails, guys, is remember to build everything non-alcohol to alcohol. And the reason you do that is if you mess up along the way, you're dumping out the non-alcohol and you're not wasting the booze. So always remember that. That was one of my favorite tricks that I learned while bartending.
Now you're going for the gold there.
Oh,
the Luxardo cherry and the Luxardo cherry juice, they could market their juice as a drink.
They 100% could. I know. And
I can taste it right through the screen.
You can just tell. Yes, we're going to do half an ounce of this guy. Pour it on in the juice of the juice. Yes, just the juice. Half an ounce of triple sec. Also, if you don't have triple sec in your house, like triple sec, Grand Marnier, have something along the lines of it, because it's just a very simple liquor to add to any cocktail that you have. And this is a staple, I think. We then got sweet vermouth. Again, I'm not a fan of sweet vermouth, but in this one, I was like, okay, I'm not mad about it.
That's all right. Not makes the world go round and stumble.
Yes.
Whatever we like.
Yes. And then lastly, you're going to do 2 ounces of whiskey. So this is my favorite whiskey. It's called Uncle Nearest. If anyone is a whiskey fan and you don't know this, go out and buy this right now.
Really?
The backstory is incredible. The man, Uncle Nearest, is who taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey. So he was a once enslaved man who became this, back in that time, Black people and white people weren't friends, let alone working together, let alone a Black man running a distillery while Jack Daniels went around and sold his whiskey, but he trusted Nearest. And the story kind of got lost in translation throughout the years, but it finally came to light, and they are the fastest growing liquor next to Casamigos, which is George Clooney's baby. So if you are a fan of it, I love the story behind it, but it's also absolutely incredible.
Really good.
It's really good. So we're going to add some ice, and then we're just going to stir it around. I don't know the reason why you stir to shake for whiskey. I have no idea. I was thinking about this earlier, but it just, I don't know, it looks pretty. And again, presentation is everything. And
That's
then we're gonna pour on in, get it on a nice big ice cube if you have one, some fresh ice. And then
I like the big ice cube. Mine is already melted, but about an hour ago I dropped that big cube in there, and I like the big cubes.
Yeah. And then you obviously got to take your cherries.
Luxardo cherries.
Luxardo cherries. And then
cheers. All right.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised by how good this is. Because sweet vermouth, I think sometimes can be overpowering for people, but with this, it's just the right amount that it's perfect. And you and everyone who's watching, this is your drink now from here on out.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
so
you.
welcome.
And there it is on the screen. And I'll use that slide there often as we do the show to remind you of what it is.
We can post
And
it up on your social media as well.
yeah, it'll be available. It's the whiskey snout or it's the streaming schnauzer. You call it what you want, but it looks. I'm going to get the ingredients. I didn't have them when we first talked, and now I'm
Mhm.
going to go out and get them and put that together, and I'll have that as one of my drinks every week. Oh boy. And I'm
Perfect.
trying to maintain a little bit because I'm 2 episodes into the new season of Ozark, and I'd like to watch a 3rd episode tonight if I have the stamina. I think it's the perfect combination, a little buzz and watching a drug dealer try to maneuver around the cartel people. Oh, that's a Friday night. That's me.
It's a Friday
That's
night.
what I do.
It's
There you
perfect.
go.
Why not?
Jenna, thank you so much. Bar Talk, check it out, and she'll have a drink every week for you if you need one. That's
Yes.
what Jenna does. Appreciate it.
No, thank you, Gary. I appreciate you having me on, and yeah, enjoy the drink and have a great weekend.
Oh, I'm planning on it. Jenna Duddleston, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Leslie, I don't know how we top that, but
Wine schmine, man.
How
God,
about
that looked really good.
Mm.
Somebody was asking how the Uncle Nearest whiskey prices in comparison to others. I don't know if Jenna's still
I
around.
don't know
but
either. Jenna, if you're there still, is it expensive?
It's
The Uncle Nearest?
It's about, I want to say for this, I paid, it was maybe like $50. That's the 100 proof. And there's only a $10 difference between the 93 and the 100 proof, but the 100 proof is just that much better. And like, it's $10 more, guys. You're already spending the money. Just do it.
it's a special
Now,
occasion.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you're not, I don't think you're doing this every night. You buy it, and this is a couple months supply, maybe.
Yeah.
So you amortize that over a couple months. It's reasonable.
Exactly.
The Luxardo cherries are pricey too, but they're so incredible. They're worth every
it.
penny. Yeah.
They're so worth
Yeah.
it.
A lot of people are
Wow.
checking in on the Luxardos. Yeah, it seems to be a thing now. Well, because we talk about it all the time, and
So
they
they
really
Now-
are.
Costco has them, and I think they sell them in bulk. So obviously you're going to have like a lot of Luxardo cherries.
Here, the whole trunk of my car is Luxardo cherries.
Girl.
Exactly. But again, they're obviously at any
Yeah.
any not drugstore, liquor store. But they're 100% worth it, as is buying like a good whiskey, because it's something like you said, Gary, you're not drinking it every day. It's for a
No,
nice
well,
occasion. So
I'm assuming, but you never know. Mary Beth is on the screen. She said you did not say how much sweet vermouth to use. You didn't?
half an ounce, Mary Beth, half an ounce.
Then we put that. Is that on the screen there, Alan? I think
it's
it was
in
in the
the
recipe.
in
Yeah,
the recipe.
I
think
think
it
it
is.
is, yeah.
Yeah, it's on there.
I think it
Okay.
is.
And I think Mary Beth also said, I think I saw this going by, that her family has gone to your mother's bar.
Oh, I love that,
you-
Mary Beth.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Next
she
time,
said
come and
that.
ask for me, please. I'd love to meet you.
All right. Wow. I got to say, I'm feeling pretty good right now. I have a ritual, as we've talked
course
about on
we
this
are.
program, when we are heading to this show. The whole day is consumed with different things that get my head very zen. During the summer, it's yard work, it's weed whacking, it's leaf blowing, it's all kinds of things. Obviously, the dead of winter can't do that, so I have to look for other things, and I turn my attention, and Leslie knows this because she does this too. We're clean freaks, so we start cleaning. And if you've seen the movie American Hustle, Jennifer Lawrence is with the big gloves. She's dusting to the song "Live and Let Die," and I feel like that, where I'm like going around the house and it's a whole thing. I'm building up to this. It gets my mind right, and I know I'm crazy, and I try not to make anybody in the house feel goofy about that I'm doing my thing, but that's what I got to do to get my mind right.
You're setting the
Yeah.
table for the day.
Yes.
And on top of that, some of us who are chronic cleaners, it's how we control an otherwise out of control environment.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
don't think we have anything to apologize for. What we should probably do is set up the giveaway. And
I
with that,
think
how
I
about
got. I think I know where you're going, because I saw on the screen somebody said, "How about hashtag Jenna?"
Oh, well, otherwise, I was thinking hashtag bar talk, because there you go.
What do
That
we
is
want? We'll
Jenna's
pick one
show.
that's
We've
an
got
homage to
hashtag-
Jenna.
There we
I
go.
like bar
Hashtag
talk.
talk.
Hashtag bar
check out
talk.
Bar
There
talk.
you go. Put that in the comment section to
Yes.
be eligible for the drawing. Hashtag Bar Talk, all one word. And then at the end of the show, the computer will pick the winner of the condom and the GarrForce scarf. Yes.
Guys, I
Wow.
can't believe you're giving away I know you do this, but it's so funny that it's a wine condom. It's hilarious.
Okay. Why don't you tell Jenna the origin of how this came about?
Honestly, it's our next guest or our contributor, and it was Ryan from Wisconsin, whose wife saw these and went, "Oh my gosh, everybody should have a wine condom." And she sent me my first batch, and good golly, I mean, I got a stash of them now.
Oh yeah, she could go all night. Look at her. She's ready to go. She's got a lot of condoms. But
And
that's what
they're
we do,
just so
Jenna.
much fun. Come on.
This is turning into a Seinfeld episode very quickly.
Really? Which one? Which one?
With the sponges.
We're sponge. You're condom worthy on this show. You're
Oh my-
condom worthy.
Is
Uh,
your wine condom worthy? I think we've got a concept going now.
I think
Yeah,
that's the next t-shirt.
And I
Okay.
should let you know, Jenna, too. I used it on a bottle of Prosecco.
Ooh.
And what happened was like a science experiment.
Uh-huh.
These things do expand. It's very cool. So just have some fun with it.
I will. I totally
And
will.
that can be part of your little bar talk thing there, because now you know about wine condoms. Which I'm excited to know that here's a woman who does bar talk and was just introduced to the wine condom on this program.
I just thought, I was like, there's no way they're actually just like they're just like mailing people condoms. Like there's
Yes.
no way. And then I was like, nope, they are. And here it is. And this is
Yeah,
fantastic.
That's what we do. Every Friday, we're doing something like that. And I got to tell you, okay, this is going to be probably non sequitur inside baseball. Before we came on live, we started talking about the movie Whiplash. And apparently I've seen it. Jenna's seen it. Leslie has not. Alan has seen it, right? And Ryan has
seen it.
has seen it. And if you have not seen the movie Whiplash, and you're going to hear in the openings to the shows, I've told Keith, producer Keith, that I'd like to use some of the different drop-ins from those movies being Whiplash, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Wolf of Wall Street. I've told him to concentrate on those movies because they're rich with dialogue that fits perfectly into this show. And Leslie, while I'm saying this, she pulls up, there's a song in Whiplash that becomes kind of the centerpiece of J.K. Simmons going apeshit on these guys in this jazz band. And if you haven't seen it, this song...
They get like
and once
6 notes into it, and he keeps
Right.
stopping.
Once you've seen the movie, every time you hear this song, I don't know how often you're here, you're going to go up, little fast, up. And then he starts swearing and throwing shit. It's amazing. He won the Academy Award, deservedly so. He was unbelievable. In fact, he was so good that when I watch it, and it's one of those movies when it comes up on the cable or whatever, I'll watch it till the end, wherever it is in the movie, beginning, middle, end. I watch the whole damn thing because I'm riveted. He's so good, this J.K. Simmons, that I get nervous. I think he's yelling at me as I'm sitting watching it. He's that powerful. He's that good.
So
All
I
right.
guess I'm gonna have to rent it. I'm the odd man out here.
You have to see
We'll
it.
have a viewing party at my house. Come on over, everybody.
Yes. And play that little bit of that. Do you have it handy there, Leslie?
I'm trying, but
Yeah, I think we can play a little bit of it. And Alan knows that we have these situations where if we play a video, whatever, we get flagged because they're copyright things. But I think if we play just a few seconds of it, and this is the song that is predominant.
Commercial. Hold on 1 second. There's more.
All right,
of these,
you want to
days.
pay homage to the sponsors and find it?
Why don't we do that?
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Jenna, again, thank you. And
thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Uncle Ernest, that's on my list now.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be with the Luxardo cherry jar in the shelf, as that's a nice little thing there, right in my little liquor area.
It's perfect.
And we'll take care of some business here, and then we'll play this little snippet from Whiplash. The fine people at Bettenhausen would like to share this information with you. How about that right now?